All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the High Side Podcast. I'm Donnie, joined by Josh. We've got two of these left on the season. We're gonna just go right into it. I think we just wrapped up the race at Martinsville, and William Byron was able to clinch the final position, I believe, if we count it that way, because technically it's what Larson that kind of clinched the last spot. He didn't
Yeah,
have
technically on
to,
points.
but yeah. Well, you being the Blaney fan, I guess we better take your. Yeah. Why don't you take us through those final laps there, Josh?
Well, I mean the final few laps I had kind of just already knew was over. William, I think his team they made a really good adjustment to do the restart, but the last run there before the caution came out, Blaney had mentioned he had started losing some of his rear grip and drive, and it was noticeable because he's having a little bit harder time with the lapse traffic, and just happens to get to Ty Dillon one time. I think it was Ty Dillon, and have a hard time getting by him, and William Byron just kind of took advantage of it and used him up before they even got a chance to race for it.
Yeah, I seen. I only got to see a replay, but don't worry, everybody. If you're watching, I'm going to be able to actually watch the race this weekend. I'm on a vacation, and I didn't even realize I called off for the championship race, but it worked out pretty good. Yeah, I was kind of surprised to see when I got home from work the other two that had made it. I was kind of expecting like a Blaney and Bell kind of final two spot holders there, but when I seen it was Byron and Larson, it's like, wow, this is going to be the first time in however long we didn't even have a Ford in the final four.
Yeah.
Usually Penske's in there. So,
Yeah, this will be the first time since 2021 that a championship hasn't been won by a Team Penske driver. Back when, all the way when Kyle Larson won.
that's wild. And he's in it again. And you know what? Larson, was it the same way last time, Larson, when he was in the Final Four? Was it there was one person in there that had championships, but no one else did?
I believe so. I feel like I can't remember. I think Chase Elliott was in it. I don't remember right off the top of my head, but that's probably correct.
Yeah, so I'm kind of interested to see. I mean, it's a 25% chance that we'll see a repeat champion. So, but I think, well, I mean, based off of everybody, who do you think the favorite is outside of our own opinion? Who are people picking?
I think kind of just based off what just happened on a short track and Phoenix being kind of more in the realm of short track, I would think William Byron. It was a kind of actually really a statement race. I think that's like the first time in at least maybe the next gen era that somebody has dominated a race as much as he did in terms of outright winning both the stages, leading the most laps, and everything. So I would say probably William, but I think me personally, I think it could go all four ways because outside of Denny having the 6 wins and the other guys just having 3, none of the 4 guys in it have been super dominant anytime recently, and outside of maybe Denny just winning more often.
Yeah, when it comes to Martinsville though, I don't think we need to worry too much that Byron's going to go in there and just absolutely whip everybody's ass. I really feel like Martinsville can fall under the same category as road courses, being that it's a flat track with very heavy braking zones. And if I'm not mistaken, Byron was pretty successful in the road course races outside of the fact that SVG won all of them.
Yeah.
But I mean, Byron, he was I think he was second at Coda. I'm trying to pull up other results now, but where did he run at the other Oh, Hamlin won the other Martinsville race. Byron must have been damaged or something. He's not even anywhere that I could find him. Man, he must have been way down. I can't even find the guy. But I believe that even though it's considered a short track, in the NASCAR world, and it's just an oval, I really think you can compare more Martinsville's to stat or driving wise more toward road courses. So I'm not super worried that Byron's just going to go in there and beat everybody.
Oh yeah. I think it'll be kind of just like it is pretty much almost every other year. At some point in the race, every driver will have a chance to win. Those 4 cars will be a little bit more tuned up than everybody else, and probably all be racing each other, and nobody else will probably have a chance at some point. So as far as the non-playoff guys,
Do you feel like we'll see another championship race where the eventual winner does not win the race?
I don't think we will. I mean, we've seen that only one time. I don't think so. I wouldn't be surprised. We know that either one of the two Penske cars could easily win that thing. And I mean, really anybody else could too. Like, Christopher Bell could go and win. Anybody could win it, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of the 4 wins it for sure. I think they've all probably won at Phoenix, including Chase Briscoe.
Yeah. Now I do have to point out, because I'm looking at the previous Phoenix race results. Christopher Bell led the most before winning the race. And then it looks like it's followed by William Byron.
Yeah.
With 83 laps led. The other guy that, typically we worry about there is Logano. He led 81, but obviously he's not even a factor. Actually, he could be a factor based on just going out there and winning the race. That could cause some hindrance on that as well. I think if we do see somebody that's not in the chase win the title, the chase playoffs, win the title, it's going to be probably Blaney or Logano, if I had to guess.
Yeah. I would agree.
So I think based off of everything, I think Hamlin does end up finishing second in that race behind Bell. He led 3 of them. I don't know what laps they were. But yeah, he's got good company with him. Larson's he's kind of an alien. He can drive any kind of car. But where did he finish last night? Or not last night, Sunday.
He was in the top 10. I know him and Bell were always pretty close all race until kind of like that last caution kind of killed the pit cycle, and then some guys tried different strategies and stuff a couple of times. So I think they were always about a position apart until right there at the very end.
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to say between Hamlin, Byron, and Larson that they're going to be up there. There is absolutely nothing that we can say when it comes to Briscoe, considering he only completed 30 laps. And he was there. He just joined Gibbs at the time anyway. That was race 2 or 3 or something like that. So he is probably going to have the most to prove out of anybody on Sunday.
Yeah, I think back to when Chase Briscoe surprised everybody a few years ago in the Stewart Haas car at Phoenix, and people may count him out just because he hasn't been in this situation before, but it would definitely be a surprise. I think he's definitely earned his way, but I think a lot of people would be surprised if he was able to beat those other 3 guys.
Yeah, I think out of everybody, I mean, if you really like look at it, you start getting into the damn theories and um, the lore behind all of it. Chase Briscoe was a Ford driver. He did drive for Keselowski at some point. I believe in the truck series. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Even though I personally want Hamlin to just go finally get it done, I'm not gonna be surprised if Chase Briscoe wins it.
Yeah, and he's been really consistent at putting himself in the best spot in the beginning of races. Sitting on the pole as much as he has this season, and really recently too. Um, it's a track that's usually pretty tough to pass on. So we see it every year, I think, almost where outside of the year Blaney won the championship, really the championship winner usually starts up front. So if he can start up front like he's been used to, part of the job's already done, and you just have to go and run the race.
There was a question that I had asked myself. Probably right. I think it was Monday morning or Sunday night. And we've seen how Hamlin has said before, he's not really focused on necessarily going out and getting a championship in his final races, but more so trying to stack up as many wins as he can. But we've seen after Kansas, right? Is that the race he won, or was it Vegas?
Yeah, it was one of the two.
Yeah, one of them. They're cookie cutters. We've seen how important it was for him to win that race to lock himself into the final four. I think it was Vegas. So, given that pressure, lifted off his shoulder, we saw how emotional he was when he won that race, and now he's going in. He's going to have a shot to go get this title that he probably should have won 10 years ago or something like that. But
Oh yeah.
even though he said what he said, it's not his primary focus anymore. How do you think Hamlin feels if
Yeah.
he goes and finishes second to his teammate who just joined the team?
Um, I think at the end of the day he would be happy for him, but Denny knows that this is his last best opportunity. We don't know if he'll have another good opportunity or not, because we probably all think that maybe next year will be the last. And the final four is right there in front of him, so this is obviously the best opportunity that we know of that he'll ever have again. So I think I think it'll all set in for him probably, and it maybe already has, but it'll all set in for him. Right prior to that race, where he's gonna probably reconsider some of his previous TV comments, and he's gonna be out there to make sure he wins that race, I feel like.
Yeah, I do you know anything about what's going on with his father? Because I know he mentions his dad a lot. I don't know anything about what's going on with his dad.
Yeah, I haven't read too much into it. I just think he's had some health problems recently. So it's just one of them things. I think for him that one, like I just said, it's as far as we know, it's his last best opportunity, and I think the way he sees it is it's the best opportunity for his father to see him win the whole thing too. And one thing also is his parents were big in even getting him to the top level of NASCAR, and even really just getting his foot in the door. So I think there's probably nobody more than his dad that he wants to win for, outside of maybe just JD and Joe Gibbs.
Yeah. And it's I think this because of the situation with Hamlin and him closing out his career with the situation going on with his father. You obviously have Chase Briscoe just joining a brand new team, and I think just between those two things in the weight, just Joe Gibbs Racing in general, I guess. Not to put a shadow over Hendrick by any means, but I think this is probably the most storyline friendly championship season we've seen in a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, he's kind of gone from Denny himself as there's a lot of behind the scenes story with the with the lawsuit and all that, but there's also been the story of him racing his own team and um going out and being the villain, like he kind of is, just accepting that persona, and then kind of having to um go back on that and appreciate the fans like he did when he won number 60. So um I think there's definitely a lot riding on Denny Hamlin winning. I don't see as much like you said, story. Like if there's some kind of storybook ending to this race on Sunday, I see that being more behind Denny Hamlin, and um, not really necessarily any of the other three, because they've got still a lot more to race for. As far as we know, you never know what could happen, but they've all got several years of racing left, and Denny's on his last leg, so it would definitely be a great story, and one that there will, I would assume, probably be a documentary about at some point.
Yeah, and to your point about him kind of stepping back out of that persona, I think over the last probably month or less, we've started seeing a lot less of driver of the 11 car and a lot more of Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, I think between just like the ownership role and his podcast and all that kind of stuff, we've been able to get to see just more of the person than like you said, the driver, because most of the other guys, we only see them on Sundays. We get to see Denny Hamlin on Sunday and Monday, and whenever he does his podcast, Monday, Tuesday, we get to see him then, and we get a lot of raw thought and emotion from him that we don't just regularly get from the other guys. So that's one thing that intrigues me, about himself, but just kind of also about just racing in general. Like, I like to like a driver that I feel like I can relate to. I think a lot of people like to try and relate to their favorite drivers, and I feel like that's something that we used to be able to do a lot, with a lot of the guys that aren't around anymore, like Earnhardt Jr., Stewart, Harvick, a bunch of others, Kurt Busch. I think there's a lot of guys that you could relate to, but I think there's kind of a consensus that you really can't do that a whole lot anymore. I don't know if you would agree.
Yeah, I would have to. To be honest, especially with the lack of well, actually this year's kind of been a little bit better, but you had mentioned the whole podcast deal. Like we're seeing some of these guys outside of just Sunday.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that we're seeing a lot of this, and I hope we start seeing more of it. I think because I'll tell you right now, 10, 15 years ago when I was watching it, when Junior was still on the track, I did not give a rat's ass about Dale Earnhardt Jr. I didn't care. All I knew was that he had a massive fan base, and it was cool to hate Dale Jr.
Yeah.
Same thing with Hamlin. You know, I didn't know anything about Denny Hamlin. I didn't care about the guy. I just seen that he didn't like Brad Keselowski, or he always had issues with Brad Keselowski at the time. And I'm obviously a Brad fan. So, and in my, I would say, immature mind state or state of mind, I kind of turned uh, the other cheek toward Junior and Hamlin. But them actually coming out and having their podcast, I've gotten to know them a little bit more personally. They're both entertaining as hell to listen to.
Oh yeah, yeah. They'll both give you their full opinion and more. It's always refreshing. You know, like Dale Earnhardt Jr. has had like top brass from NASCAR on his podcast recently, and you know he had Steve O'Donnell on a few weeks ago, and you know it's always nice when guys don't just you know kind of agree like, oh yeah, the state of everything is great. You know, Dale Jr. kind of gave him some different things that are like, you know, why are we doing this? You know, why are we doing that? And yeah, that was really good to see.
Yeah. Their social media presence and has, in my opinion, has been very important to getting driver insight, and also the fact that they are not shushed by NASCAR. And I gotta thank NASCAR for that too, because they could easily go up there and say, "Hey, we're gonna cut your endorsements if you don't if you keep mentioning all this negative light about the sport." So the
Yeah,
fact that they're able to freely go on there and talk about this stuff, other than that one time I think Hamlin like admitted to wrecking Chastain or something, that's a different context. But so I really appreciate NASCAR for doing that. I hope we start seeing a lot more social media presence in terms of whether it be podcasts, vlogs, it doesn't matter. You know, just being able to see and listen to these guys off the racetrack is has been important to me personally. I'm starting to get two sides of a story instead of just what I see on television or hearing an interview right after a crash that means absolutely nothing because it's just mad.
yeah,
Um, so
yeah,
I think it's been very good to see this kind of stuff.
yeah. I like when we can go and listen to, you know, Denny Hamlin or, you know, Dale Earnhardt Jr. or even like Freddie Kraft on all their shows, and they kind of give a perspective about something maybe that happened like to them in the race. And you know, TV, you know, they'll broadcast it and commentate it one way, and you'll just be like, man, what are they watching? You know, are they watching the same race as me? Like, they're actually there. Are they watching what I'm watching? And then you go and listen to Denny, and he explains like, you know, exactly what was happening, you know, inside the race car, or, you know, exactly what he saw, or, you know, how the car reacts and whatnot. But I think a lot of that, there was the situation here with the race between him and Bubba at Kansas, and you know, I think they were talking about it one way on the broadcast, and then, you know, he goes and kind of just has a different perspective the next day. So I always like listening to that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Um, I think if NASCAR keeps allowing teams and drivers to keep going in this direction, because I mean, when it comes to other shit on TV, you know, I used to watch the Race Hub, but I think after, um, I can't remember who it was. They either left the show or passed away. But the interest in the show just started going down for me. So I
Yeah,
think when it's not locked to a television contract, you know, they
yeah,
can freely go on these YouTube channels or what have you. That's that's probably where you start seeing a lot more shit. I mean, look how honest Denny is about everything. I mean, he's
yeah.
not keeping anything behind closed doors.
Yeah, it's like you mentioned Race Hub and those kind of things, and then Fox went and axed like 90% of their TV presence, so you can't consume a whole lot of NASCAR TV outside of just Saturdays, Sundays, and Friday when the races are.
Exactly. And turning on a race, let's be honest, especially with the way the car runs at a lot of these racetracks, not really understanding how convoluted the damn point system is. The average viewer has no idea what's going on. It is not entertaining to sit there for 4 hours and watch this shit.
Yeah.
But when you find somebody who tunes into, I mean, look at Cletus McFarlane, all the content that he's posted on there, and now he's dragging fans into the sport. That's the kind of shit we need.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw earlier today, that kind of thing is about to happen again with the content creator race they're going to have on NASCAR 25 tomorrow with 8 different high-profile content creators. That should bring some new eyes too. I don't know if you
That's
saw
true.
that.
Yeah, I just seen that before we started recording.
Yeah, so I don't really know any of them. I know Tim the Tap Man. It'll be pretty cool to see him playing NASCAR 25, but I don't watch a whole lot of gaming YouTube, but I know who he is, and he's pretty entertaining.
Surprised they didn't get people that are like already known inside the NASCAR world in terms of the games. I think skipping out on Jeff Favignano or Michael Rooks. Hell, even some of the esports drivers that have their own channels. Like I think they probably should have focused more on those, but they get paid a lot more money than I do to have an opinion on that type of shit. So they probably have it all figured out on what's going on. And in either case, a good idea.
Yeah, I think they're also more intrigued by people that are able to bring in a few million views on any video, and I don't know if there's anybody in the NASCAR gaming community that is capable of that. You may know better than me, but I don't know that anybody's bringing in Tim the Tatman type numbers in the NASCAR community.
Definitely not on a consistent basis. I think if you
maybe
have like a one-off type deal, then maybe.
Yeah, outside of probably not even Carson Hocevar. I mean, he goes on pretty frequently now, but I don't think he would even be. He'd be popular to our community, but
Right.
not the outside gaming community that we wouldn't kind of lump into our little NASCAR world.
Yeah, I just hope it's not a goofy, like, it doesn't turn the damn sport into a laughing stock. Whatever they're doing, excuse me, whatever they're doing behind the scenes, I just hope it puts us in a good light, because it's so easy, especially on these damn video games, to make us look like a laughing stock.
Yeah, I'll see somebody like turn around backwards and not take it seriously. I wonder if they'll have rules against stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, hell, speaking of the games, I think NASCAR 25 has been out for a while. It seems like they're pushing out a lot of updates. I think it's been selling well. Like I obviously don't have access to those numbers, but it looks like, I mean, a lot of people that I've seen, they want to play the game. They are playing the game. So we're starting to get into that territory again, kind of like the old Thunder days, where we were getting the gamer fan to come and check us out or check out NASCAR as well. So I think NASCAR's doing a lot of the right thing. Getting alongside iRacing to begin with was the best move they probably could have made. Should have done that a long time ago. But
For sure.
I think when you have something like that and the drivers are getting with these creators to do some kind of content, and then social media presence by the podcaster drivers, dude, it looks good. Like NASCAR's starting to look pretty good again.
Yeah, I would agree. Like Same. I haven't played yet either, but yeah, I've seen bits and pieces of some different gameplay. Nothing really in depth. I haven't sat down and watched like full streams or anything, but I've been having some fun watching people attempt to do online lobbies and see how tragic some of those seem to be. So it's pretty entertaining.
Yeah, hopefully I can get my hands on the game soon. I think I'm waiting for it to come out on PC. I might just get it on Xbox. I'm not sure, but real quick, Joel, we'll dive into our picks before we close out this show. We do have another show coming up. We'll try to throw one up next week. Obviously, that'll be the conclusion of the podcast for the remainder of the season, obviously, because the season's over. But Josh, you may make your final pick. Who is going to actually, you know what? Pick two. Who's going to win the race? Who's going to win the title? Or is it the same person?
You know, I wish I remembered back to episode 1, probably when we did this. I can't say
I know
that
we were really nut swinging for Christopher Bell.
Yeah, well, I mean, he did a pretty good job of putting himself in position really early. But I don't know. I'd say you know, personally, I'm looking forward to seeing Denny Hamlin finally get it. I'm by no means a Denny Hamlin hater. Hopefully the Gibbs cars stay in one piece this week and they don't blow a bunch of motors randomly. But I don't know. I just, in terms of I've been here before and I kind of know how it goes. He obviously hasn't wrapped it up, but like Kyle Larson has. But I just think he's got the experience and he's got the most wins on the season. Why not go and make 7 wins in the last race and break the tie with Kevin Harvick for the all-time wins list at 61 now and win the championship at the same time.
Yeah. That would be the perfect Cinderella story for me as well. That's who I obviously hope goes out and wins. But as far as my picks, I do believe we're going to see a non-chase driver win. I'm going to pick Ryan Blaney. Penske is an alien when it comes to Phoenix. I think it's going to be an easy walk for him and Logano, but I think Logano's been a bit on the weaker side this year, so my pick's going to be Blaney. As far as the title goes, I pick Hamlin all the way, but I think statistically and based off of the victory on Sunday, I think Byron might win the title. That's my pick. But again, I'm a big Hamlin fan right now, fellas, so don't shoot me down too bad.
Yeah, it's definitely solid. The good thing about this season in general is, it may be kind of one of the more, maybe boring lineups, but at least there's always a talk of who's actually deserving, and that champion wasn't deserving. What did they do? Like, they've all won at least 3 races. Denny's won 6. 3 between the other 3 guys, and all 4 of them lead at least one statistical category on the season. So, no matter who gets it, we're gonna have a deserving champion, which is good.
Yeah. This may be, assuming it all changes next year, I think this is a really good way to close out the playoffs era.
Yeah, at least this style of the playoffs era.
Yeah.
I think they will keep it. It'll just look different. But in terms of who is deserving or not, we haven't touched on the Craftsman Truck Series or the Xfinity Series. I think there's two names that everybody expects to win those championships, and would, 99% of the NASCAR fan base would probably agree that Corey Heim or Connor Zilic, Corey Heim and Connor Zilic should each win their respective championships, or it will look like a complete joke.
Yeah, I have to say right here, and I have to admit this, I have not kept up at all. I mean, you see how little I'm able to keep up with the Cup Series. You think I kept up with Xfinity and Truck? Absolutely not. The only reason I know who Corey Heim is and Connor Zilic is because the name has been mentioned obnoxiously all the year long. Like those guys need to go win their titles, or something's wrong here.
Yeah, I think there's it would be pretty obnoxious, because I think between the two of them, there's 21 wins this season.
Gee, that's an entire truck schedule.
Yeah, Corey Heim won so much they had to double up the winner stickers on the side of the door, like it was a double cheeseburger or something.
It's so dumb. All right, well, it's gonna be fun, guys. We're gonna be raring to go on Sunday. I'm off. Who knows? Maybe I haven't. This is just off the cuff here, but maybe we can put together the first ever High Side podcast live stream where you can just sit in and listen to us watch the race. I'll leave that up to the editors because they're the ones doing all the work, but I'd be down for that because I'm off work. So we'll see what happens. But is there anything else you want to add in there, Josh?
Yeah, and I was gonna say, based off our little bit of off radio here before, behind the scenes, if we were to do a watch party, our fans would either hear our producer Nick, or they wouldn't. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep. All right. Well, I think that's it for here. For now, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. I don't even know how we were just going on a tangent there. That was completely unscripted. We didn't have bullet points to go off of.
No bullet points.
That was different. But all right, guys. We'll see you guys maybe Sunday, if not shortly after the race on Sunday, probably 2 days after. Leave us some comments. Thumbs up. Thank our sponsors. They've been appearing all over the video at some capacity. Yeah, we got one more after this. Everybody, you take care, all right? See you then.